What is up, guys, and welcome to the Man Cave Podcast official YouTube channel. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so. Before this video starts, I just wanted to announce that on BigDawsManCave.com, we officially have hoodies, shirts, flags, all sorts of awesome merchandise. If you guys want to support the movement, if you want to join the fam, go to the website, get yourself something, and I hope you enjoy this video. What else you got going on? You got, you said you got an album dropping.
Yeah, album dropping May 15th called Still on the Rise. This year I wanted to we're 5 years past that point that we're talking about. 5 years past being able to live off music, being able to do what I want to, live my life off of music. And the album I dropped that year, which the greatest is on, is called The Rise. So now I feel like I'm still on the rise. I'm still elevating my life. I'm still growing. I'm still, doing all these things. I'm still on the rise. And I made Coast to Coast that year. I toured 250 days out of that year.
Wow.
I was gone insane. All year. I did probably 4 or 5 tours that year. So yeah, this year is, kind of getting back to that hunger and that vibe and that love for music that people feel like they haven't seen from me for the last couple of years.
That's kind of where I'm at in my career,
Yeah.
I have been grinding so hard for so long. And
it's different.
The last 2 years, I want to say, I've been at the point where, I haven't lost the passion by any means, but I've just been focused on other things, and I've kind of just taken a step back and just taken almost. I don't know if you've taken a creative break, but I feel like that's kind of where I've been at, where I'm just wow, I'm looking back on everything, and I'm just oh my God, I need to just take a step back, breathe, and figure out which direction that I want to go.
Yeah.
So now I'm recharged and I'm more motivated than ever to kind of go in that same direction that you're talking about.
It's been about the exact same time. You kind of blew up when I blew up.
Yeah.
So you grind so hard your whole life. I told you, I've been rapping since I was 6 years old. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about, I've been rapping for 22 years.
How old are you now?
I'm 28. So
I did that math. I knew that.
So for 22 years I've been rapping, and it's not that you, like you said, you don't lose the passion, but it's different. When you look at it like a business, which you started Daily Dropout, you started Dropout Gang, you started the Lab channel.
Yep.
So it's all a business.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that with good videos comes good money. And it's different.
And you start to say, oh, if I spend my time this way, yeah,
it's different. It's
I
different.
could do this and this and that.
And when you start buying property and you start, making brands and you start investing in other things, it's just life is different.
It pulls you in different directions.
Yeah. So for me, it's I've been so invested in different businesses and how to diversify my income and whatever else. And not that I lost the love for music, but the music that I make that I feel is great, my fans don't necessarily resonate with. They like a certain style. So I kind of
like the way you blew up.
Yeah. So I kind of got back into the way I blew up, and it's been doing really well. And I still love that too, but I also love 10 other things.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, what are the things that you have invested in to diversify your income?
So Guest List, which is a clothing store in Arizona Mills Mall, invested in that, and it's been doing so well. Sheesh World was a clothing line that I started, which I recently retired, but that did really well. We got into 78 Zoomy stores across the world.
Wow. So why did you retire it?
Because it's Dropout now.
Well, that's a whole nother story to talk about here in a minute.
So I wanted to make all my brands cohesive, so I retired Sheesh World for Dropout. And then I invested in film locations. With my guy,
with Jacob.
With Jake, yeah. So
shout out Jacob Owens, bro. He's a stand-up guy.
He's a legend. So I invested in Honeymoon Hideout with him. Talked to him about Eclectic West. Been working on that.
And what is that exactly?
So Honeymoon Hideout is an Airbnb, but for film locations, and it's a 70s based kind of vibe.
So I saw you guys have that house, right?
Yeah.
Aren't you having to move? Do you guys got too many complaints about the film location?
We don't have to move.
What's
we
going
just have
on
to
with
slow
that?
down a little bit because the neighbors are complaining because we didn't realize we were going to be booked 30 out of 30 days a month.
So how does that work? So the neighbors say have to slow down. You do 20 days a month now? Or
technically it shouldn't even be an issue because there's no HOA or anything like that. But we've been booked 30 days out of the month. Our mortgage is, about $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
So
You
when
probably get that in a day.
you get it in a day. But the neighbors are like, it's in a nice neighborhood with a lot of older neighbors, so they're complaining, and they're like, we don't want this in our neighborhood.
So if there's no HOA, how do they have any say in that?
If enough complaints come in, the city eventually is like, yo, we have 20 complaints.
And what are they going to do?
They shut it down, kind of.
Well, how do they do that? I
Not
mean,
shut
can't you
it
take a
down.
stand for yourself? Can't you hire a lawyer? Can't you?
You can hire a lawyer, but it's just a long process. So
So-
we still do it, but we kind of keep it a little bit low key. Like we're trying to do a little bit smaller photo shoots, a little smaller video shoots. Like Khalid shot there, and other people shot there, and they bring like semi trucks worth of gear. So like when you have 3 semi trucks parked on the streets and generators going and this and that, it's like, you know, neighbor.
Is it one neighbor that's complaining, or is it a group of them?
It's one mainly, but there's multiple.
Why don't you pay them off?
Can't really.
Well, if you're making, you know, 2,000-3,000 in a day, and say you're booked every day, like you said, right?
Yeah.
And they're complaining, they want you to slow it down, and you cut it down by 1/3, right?
Right.
That 1/3 is worth $12,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to even go to them and say, hey,
They're just old people who just want their peace.
but
Money pays for peace.
money pays for anything.
It does and it doesn't.
So what if you came to them, lowball them, and say, hey, we'll give you $3,000 to shut the fuck up?
Maybe.
Have you tried that?
Maybe we haven't tried that all the way.
If it makes sense and it's worth it.
We've tried to have educated communication with these people, and they just are not having it.
So they're stubborn.
They're very stubborn.
Hey,
and they're
money talks.
money talks. So we'll see. We'll see.
Just an idea.
But we still run it, and we still kind of do our thing. But we just try not to have super big productions where there's 3 semi trucks in front.
Makes sense.
So yeah,
Well, you could buy the house next door, flatten it, and use it as a parking lot.
there you go. Buy them all like I do in Arizona. You know,
Yeah,
buy them all in LA.
you got
too.
house and house next to each other.
Yeah.